Quite good. Thanks. So today me and Vaishali will walk you through our journey from unstructured authoring to structured authoring in Conga. So this is the basic agenda that we have. So we'll walk you through the decision on why we wanted to move to structured authoring, what was our understanding of structured authoring, what were our pre-implementation stages, post-implementation, the cleanups, all the way to the publishing side. So what happened and why did we decide to transition? So we were in this conference world, okay, and we had some content in PC data as well. So as a team we sat down and got everything into conference. And this happened in November 2020. And unfortunately in February 2021, Altishan announced end of support for all their products. So they said that we'll stop selling new licenses starting Feb, and Feb 2022 we'll stop all the next level upgrades. And 2024 it's the end. So we've had to move on. And we decided to take this as an opportunity and said let's move on to a more structured way of writing and move to a better environment. So what next? So there's a lot of discussion in-house. How do we want to go about doing this? One of the options was we have the expertise within the house, dev, doer, writers, everybody. So probably build something in-house, which caters to the kind of documentation that we are working on, and it will take through everything, the authoring part, the new parts of publishing, and everything with their house. So that was one thought process. Second, we thought, okay, why reinvent the wheel? You have so many open source content outside, just pick up one and start working. That was one. The third was, maybe we should look for a vendor who's going to do all this for us. Maybe help us with the authoring tool and everything all the way to the publishing. So these were the discussions that were kind of happening within the teams. Parallelly, we were also looking at whether we want to go with structured or unstructured, or stay where we are. So obviously, after quite a bit of this discussion, it was structured. So what's structured authoring really? So if I can have a show of hands, how many of you have worked in proper structured authoring? And by structured authoring, I'm not talking about data, I'm saying just structured authoring. Data is a level higher. How many in data? Okay, we have a good. So I'll explain what happens. So the moment you say structured authoring, these are the words that come to your mind. But that's not it. I mean, structured authoring is actually a level below, and data goes takes you to a level above. So what's the difference? I'll explain this with an example. Since I'm in Gujarat, I'm going to take an example for dokla. So if you're writing a recipe for a dokla, what would you do? You will have a title saying dokla recipe. You will have some information about dokla. Say its color is yellow, it is steamed, and it has a spongy texture. You'll have your ingredients. You'll have your procedure. And lastly, you will say, this can be eaten with a green chutney, and it is best when you're having chai. If you write 5 more recipes in the same structure, you have entered the structured authoring field. Okay? Nothing new. Now, what is all this about single sourcing? What are these stats? What's the CCMS? What is topic-based approach? All of this starts coming when you are in beta. So when we hear about beta, all we know is beta helps us create a task topic, a concept topic, and a reference topic. So what is this about? So basically, if you go back to our book, the information that you wrote about it, that it is spongy and it is yellow in color and it is steamed, that becomes a concept topic. Okay? Your ingredients and your task become the procedure becomes a task topic. So in our case, the ingredients are the prerequisites, and the bottom information is what next. So after you've done this, the next thing you're going to do is eat it with chai or with a green chutney. So that's how beta starts splitting it. Now what beta helps you with is, all of these small topics that you did, they sit in a container, what we call as a CCMS. Okay? If you would have written it in a structured way, but as an entire topic, you would have as an entire topic, which is probably what we did when we were writing in Word. We couldn't pull out sections separately. Now why would you pull out sections separately? Okay, so you're preparing a recipe book. recipes, so all of it is stitched together. Tomorrow somebody wants to prepare a marketing book, says what things that you can do in Ahmedabad. Now here you are not going to write the recipes. You are going to pull out the information about Dhokla. You will have a food section. And you say you're going to eat a dokla, you're going to eat a fafda. Now what do? You will start writing all over again. No. This is a concept information that you pull out and you prepare your book. That is what is single sourcing all about. So one person writes it, one single source of information, and it is used in multiple places. So this is how structured authoring and when you go to beta is a slight difference. Another advantage in beta is you start using tags. Now from a writer's perspective, you are just adding tags, okay? How the tags shows up in your final presentation layout is something that you do as a writer don't need to worry. Otherwise what you would do is you will have those headings, typically H2, H3, and then this is bold, this is italics, all those different fonts that you start adding. You spend a lot of time in that. That is taken away by data. So just a little background on how data works and why everybody wants to move towards data. So we looked at our doc set. We looked at what data can do. And these are some of the benefits that we listed out. Okay, so this is where we want to go now. Okay, so consistency. Mainly when what happens is when you get into the data world, if you look at a complete PDF of a guide, it is quite difficult to tell that it's written by 5 different people because you are using the same tags, the same style, the same template sort of a thing. So it becomes very consistent. Okay. Secondly, like I said, the content you use. You use a concept copy from here to there. You are reusing your content. That becomes a single source of truth because similar example, if me and Vaishali are working on 2 different doc sets and we share a feature, I keep updating the feature, she doesn't need to worry about it, how feature is taken care of. Now, the way we work, almost every writers work in the same system, we are no different. We write our content, we get it reviewed, we have multiple review cycles, you have approvals, and then finally you say, okay, now I'm ready to publish. All of this sometimes is done through emails. You're sending multiple emails to multiple people and asking them to review and get back to you. We somehow wanted to integrate it into our system and make it a little more seamless. So the whole idea was basically to reduce the workload of a writer from doing this peripheral activities and yet but concentrate more on what you're actually doing and understand the product better. So that was the whole idea. Obviously publishing is required. Going forward localization is going to be required. And tomorrow if you want to go to some other system, whatever comes up in the next 5 years, we should be ready for it. So based on our doc sets and what our requirements are, we kind of listed down these benefits. Homework done, all research done, and we said this is what we want now. So what is it that we wanted? We wanted a web-based authoring tool. Why web-based? Only because we were on conference earlier, so we kind of got used to it web-based, so we said okay, another web-based tool. Full-fledged CCMS, definitely, because from versioning perspective, multiple publishing cycle perspective, we wanted a CCMS. Like I just said, content reviews, we wanted something inbuilt and we didn't want to rely on emails going all over the town and waiting for replies and follow-ups and those kind of things. Publishing capabilities, obviously everybody is looking for that. And while like I said initially, we're looking at different options like open sourcing, building it in-house, getting a vendor, we kind of finally decided that we go with one vendor. And somebody who will give us the authoring tool, the review flows, and who will give us the publishing capabilities, everything in one place. So that in case we run into any issues, we should have that one point of contact where we can go and connect with. Based on that, about almost 1.5 years of research, we finalized with Hero 2. So the team went through an extensive research of talking to multiple vendors. We got some trial versions, we used those versions, we shared reviews with each other, and after all of those discussions for almost 1.5 years, we finalized with Hero 2 as the vendor who is going to give us everything, right from the authoring tool all the way to the publishing portal and the website as well. So when the discussion started happening with Hero 2, obviously we had to get the content from point A to point B. And their trusted partner was MetaPercent. So they introduced us to MetaPercent saying these are the guys who can help you take it from A to B. So now, when to finalize, pre-implementation stage started. What obvious activities? Identify your doc sets. We found out that we had almost 20,000 plus pages in Confluence across 30 plus products. So typical all the activities like you prioritize your content, you do a P1, you do a P2, P3, you do that. You have some larger content, you start breaking them down to smaller chunks. And start planning like when you want to give a drop, how many days will they take to give it back, what do we do next. So those kind of activities started. We said that the format plan was HTML. So basically give the files in HTML and then turn it into data and give it back to us. So again, split the files, prioritize. We created a doc plan of sorts to track all the activities that we are doing, what was sent when, what is coming back when, all those kind of things. And the idea was to work in phases because while all of this migration was happening, we were also working on our current releases and we have releases every 2 weeks. So you can understand the kind of workload that we're dealing with here. So we would send the files to them, they would convert it, send it back to us. We spent some time reviewing it and then the next step. And in between initial rounds, we had some feedbacks to give back to the team, Metaverse team, and this is not coming the way we wanted to come. So those kind of stuff happened. She'll walk you through the rest of the detailed process of how things happen. So, the backups, obviously. So before we started giving out the files, we took the entire backup in HTML and PDFs. And so I think that was the pre-implementation stage. I'll hand it over to Vaishali, so she'll walk you through the rest of the implementation stages, review cycles, and publishing processes.
Thank you.
Over to you, Vaishali.
Thank you, Pallavi. Audible?
Yeah.
All right. So, in terms of implementation, I would like to say that implementation comes into the picture. Once we had our first kind of documentation migrated to a new portal, right? So, as Pallavi mentioned before, that we had 30 plus products and 20,000 plus pages, right? So, first thing we did is prioritize them. So, we given the three categories P0, P1, P2. We prioritize products according to categories. Let's say, for example, if it's a CLM or CP2, then we have frequent releases and updates. So, we put it into P0. Similar to that, we did that exercise in the pre-implementation stage, right? So as I said that once we had our first set of migrated set of documentation ready for review, that's where the actual implementation part comes into the picture. So as a part of implementation, what exactly we did? Okay, first comes the review. So Heredo team, as I said that we had Heredo was our vendor. So Heredo team started sharing data files with us for review, and we decided to get it reviewed by each and every product specific writer because they know their product better than other people, right? So and each and every writer reviewed those content from two perspectives, one from the author perspective and one from the reader or end user perspective, right? So from author perspective, they verified the correctness or the structure of the content. And when I say that from reader, we validated that okay, whatever we have written or whatever is migrated is looking perfectly on the portal or documentation portal. Because sometimes what happens, let's say as a writer you have created a table and it looks perfectly on the authoring side, right? But sometimes it happens that the formatting is not properly displayed on the portal side. So we decided to have a dual perspective when it comes to validation, right? And by validating it, we have decided to share those feedbacks with the Heredo team. So whenever they will come up with the next set of migrated documentation, they will make sure that okay, activity is running in parallel. And how we actually manage it is, as I said, that base contents were migrated by Hereto team. They will share the migrated content with us, our team will review it, and then they will share the feedback. Similarly, we did the same activity for data as well. They provided the migrated data content, we reviewed it, we provided our feedback, and same, it took a couple of phases to complete this entire cycle. The next is the validation of content. So we decided to have one more layer of validation for our content. As you said that we have two portals live. So one is our live documentation portal, and another one is along with changing our authoring tool, we also decided to redesign our portal. So along with migration, I just forgot to mention that along with migration, couple of more activities are going in parallel. For example, designing the portal was one of them, right? So we thought let's validate it parallel, how it is actually on the current portal, and after migration, how it looks on the new portal. So that's how we thought to have better clarity and confirmation when it comes before it goes live. And as I said, that portal design was one of them. So we decided to have collaborative approach when it comes to designing. So initially we decided to have a joint collaborative meetings with Hereto team, UX team, and development team, Conga's UX team, and marketing team, as well as the writers. So jointly we discussed what we currently have and what we new we can add into the portal. And after a couple of discussions, Hereto team understood what we exactly want, and they come up with a couple of mockups. So we internally reviewed it and also get the feedback from our marketing team, because we wanted to make sure that whatever new design is there, that must be matching with our Conga's branding as well. So once after a couple of iterations, after a couple of iterations, we finalized the mockup we would like to proceed with, and Hereto team started doing the front end development for that portal. And at the same time, it was decided that we want our portal to ready whenever the first set of migrated content is delivered to us. Because, as I said before, we wanted to validate the contents on new portal. Okay. So that's how we, took care of the design part. And now comes the side one. So here's the challenge. At Conga, we have quite a bit challenging release cycles. So as you can see here, we have two different platforms, SATC and Advantage platform. SATC stands for Salesforce, and for both the platforms we have different release cycles. Let's say for SATC we have quarterly releases, and for Advantage platform we have bi-weekly releases. Further, for both the platforms we have different versions. So for SATC we are maintaining up to n-1 and n-2, and for Advantage platform in bi-weekly releases we have preview and production. So whatever comes on preview is something that is going to be released in the future. Apart from that, we also wanted directly for the release note where all the product specific parts release note are available, as well as the patch release notes. So this was quite a bit challenge to align with our release cycle at the same time give the best user experience in terms of designing. So this is the site map we provided to Hereto, and that team come up with a wonderful design. In case if you get a chance, you can check out our website. It's publicly accessible. And then comes the portal oversight. So from the beginning itself, it was decided that once the portal is ready, the portal front end development of portal is done by the vendor, we would like to have the entire ownership of that portal. So once it was ready, they provided us the entire code base. They shared the entire documentation, including the folder structure and sitemap, CSS and JS details, and which component is connected with which area of the website. So that's how we have the control over the website, because we don't want it to go to the vendor for each and every minor updates we may want to have in future. Okay. Now let's talk about the training and enablement. So in our tech course team, at that time I remember we had 40 people, and out of 40, only 3 of us had actually worked in Gita or Excel. So you can imagine the challenge we have accepted and what we are going to have in future. But luckily we had wonderful support from Heredo team and the scriptorium training sessions. Apart from that, they recommended this training session, and our team was, every writer was doing hands-on before we actually went live, right? And along with that, we decided to utilize the knowledge of the existing team members. So we used to do hands-on in this week, and then we'll have a session with our internal team member. We will go with the challenges we faced, and they will help us out. So that's how we, upskill our knowledge about the tool. Yes, so time to launch. So finally, our documentation portal was live in mid-January 2025. Yeah, it was a party time. We had a little internal party. But immediately after that, another party was waiting for us. So cleanup party. So can anyone tell me here what exactly it is? Alright, let me repeat clearly. So when you transition from one platform to another, there are going to be challenges in terms of structure, or as we say that we wanted to follow data methodology. So we wanted to ensure that the content, the migrated content are matching with the data standards, right? Because we noticed that couple of components are not tagged properly in the proper elements, etc. And couple of broken links were there. So we decided to validate each and everything what we received through the migration before we go there. So that how we managed to do the cleanup part. So within our tech ops team, we have a style council team. So that style council team came up with standard practices and procedure. Every product specific writer needs to follow in terms of reviewing their product specific documentation. So we all of us did a couple of exercises and validated our product specific content. And finally, the contents were matching with the, I'm not saying that 100% it is matching with the data components, but yes, we tried our best to match the standard with what we wanted to achieve. And now comes the review process, because just to have a content from one old authoring tool to new authoring tool is not the job done, right? So when it comes to review, most of us might have handled reviews in email. Just like that, we also used to manage the review cycles in email. We would send it to PMs and EMs and we'll take the followers and everything, right? But within Heredo, there is one feature called assignment. So we thought, why not use the inbuilt feature rather than wasting time behind doing email communication. So in Heredo, every writer can create assignments. They can assign that tag a person or assign that particular task to the reviewers, and reviewers will receive the notification. And you can even set the due dates as well. Okay, so by this and this date I want your review. Fine. So that's the one benefit. Apart from that, all of us have our centralized dashboard. So we don't need to go check our sent items. We have everything what is created by us in front of us. So we can check what are the open assignment, what are in review, etc. Right? So central dashboard is available. Apart from that, if you are an SME and while reviewing the content, and let's say you would like to have more clarity from the developer, you can directly tag that person in the comment and close the loop. So collaborative review is possible through this feature, and ultimately it saves a lot of time. So that's how we are smoothly managing our review process using this tool. Now comes the publishing process. So as discussed before, we have a little bit tricky release cycle over here. So we took help from Ahmedabad team to help us implement this entire publication process. And ultimately it was like we have our content, every writer, whatever is written by writer is in the master database. Whenever we are ready with our content, we will push those changes to the preview environment. Right? So that's how we are taking care of the publishing part. Now comes the ensuring quality before the content goes live. So similar to developer and engineering team, most of us are aware that every team has multiple environment. They have their environment, QA, staging, preview, and production, right? Similarly, we also have our 3 different environments. So first is the staging. So what is staging? If I am a writer and I want to check how the content will look exactly when it comes to portal, so we can check it in real time. So that's why the staging environment is helping us. Next is the preview. So preview is nothing but a mirror image of production. So before the content goes on production environment, we want to ensure that there are no broken links, there are no broken images, any structure specific discrepancies or etc. So before a content goes to live, each and every writer is supposed to validate their product specific content, and once we move ahead with from each and every team member, we will move those content from preview environment to production environment. So, and production environment is directly linked with our live portal, that is documentation.conga.com. Now comes the publication window. So, in our team, different people are working from different geographic locations. Even within India, we have a couple of are in Bangalore, Pune, and other team members are in different geographic locations. So we thought to design define a publication window in such a way that every writer can participate for their particular products. So in case if there are any error, they can solve it right away rather than waiting for 24 hours to to connect with the other team members and everything. So we decided to have we divided it 2 time zones, IST and MST. So 2 deployment cycles were defined, and on 11 AM it will take place. So that's how we are currently managing our publication cycle. So yeah, almost after 1.5 years, we are finally done with whatever not basic, but the minimum required to run the documentation smoothly. And I would like to thank each and every team member for making this journey success. Because while we were doing this entire project journey, they had their own regular releases related work as well. So thank you so much to entire team for the work you have done. And now we are open